From the Middle is a founding member of Odd Pods Media. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to episode 190 freaking 8 of From the Middle. We are three middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives with a point of view that's somewhere in the middle. We like to think of this as our little comedy entertainment podcast. And this week, we talk about a lot of different things. Longtime friend of the show, Kenan Thompson, has a nice life update. We talk about Bricket, some sports stuff, including UFC and WWE merging and the Final Fours. And then we talk a little bit about what we're watching on the back end. Check it out.
Oh, for the love. Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it? You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved.
From the Middle after dark over here.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting Michael Jackson.
Interrupting Michael Jackson.
Good one. Love it.
Thanks. I've been up for 3 nights trying to write that joke.
And that's what you came up with?
That's what I came up with, yeah.
Proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. I feel like, for most people probably wouldn't know, a longtime SNL cast member, Kenan Thompson, is a very close personal friend of the show. I don't know how many people know that. Mm-hmm. Very, very good close friend. Almost had him on a couple times. I think we need to give him a shout out. He's now the longest tenured SNL cast member by far over Daryl Hammond. He's been on over 400 episodes, I believe, as of this past weekend, and has been a cast member since 2003. And for people approximately our age, we would have been watching him on like the kids shows and stuff that he was on and the teen stuff even before that. So for our age, we've quite literally grown up like watching Kenan Thompson. And so I just felt like for us being kind of like a comedy podcast and talking about all things entertainment, I saw that he's not a friend of the show at all, but I saw that on the news and thought that's a really noteworthy sort of like comedy and entertainment thing for however many decades that SNL has been on, that he's now the longest running cast member. And so I assume if you don't include like Lorne Michaels, who's been in bits and stuff, but like actual cast. So congratulations, Kenan Thompson, on 400 plus episodes now. That's pretty freaking cool. Like that's a lot of different cast members. I wouldn't have guessed him as the top, but congratulations.
Yeah, I feel like too he's matured over the course of his SNL career. That he had the burden on his shoulders along with a lot of other comedians of being a part of the coined not funny anymore SNL, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He came in during that era, and for a lot of people, SNL has not yet left that era. But I feel like a lot of people would at least be willing to say now at this point, maybe not earlier years, but at this point, they might be able to say SNL isn't as funny as it used to be, except for Kenan. That guy's awesome.
I agree. So first off, congrats. I agree with your assessment, Kendall, because I was going to say, if Kenan is a friend of the show, he won't be after what I'm about to say, which is that I lumped him in with that group starting in 2003 as the not funny anymore. And for me, he was a big part of that. I feel like he kind of always played the same character early on. He was always in the corner making that whoop face. And he was always that guy, but I agree that he has matured and he's gotten funnier, and just mad props anyway for his tenure for a show that I have always admired. That's awesome. Where did you see that little spot of news, Dill?
I think it came up in the feed after or maybe we were looking up some of the Pedro Pascal clips from his appearance on SNL.
Oh yeah,
some of which were very funny. And I think we might have stumbled across it there as we were sort of like looking around. But I saw him at one and then Daryl Hammond at like 260 or 270 episodes. And I was like, whoa, that's not even close. And congrats to Keenan. So it's cool. I thought that was a neat update.
Do you remember him and All That?
Of course, that's what I'm Keenan and Kel and Good Burger and all that. And absolutely, I remember
was All That basically like the Nickelodeon kids version of SNL?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely what it was. And then Keenan and Kel were popular enough to get a spinoff.
Right.
And then they had like the Good Burger movies that they did that, they were sort of like Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele. And it was sort of like that was like the silly nonstop, little stories, SNL-esque. But the buddies that sort of did back to back skits. We watch that stuff a lot, man. And especially anyone that generally we know from our podcast demographics, especially the people that listen to the show. You're like all around our ages and like the perfect age for having watched a lot of that kind of stuff too. So I thought it was a nice update. But yeah, Good Burger, all that. Keenan and Kel had a show, and I think Keenan has since tried to have some spinoffs on like NBC. I don't know that any of those have made it. Even recently, I think he's tried, but either way, that's still a very impressive tenure on SNL.
Here's a random one. Speaking of like little sketch shows and things like that, have you guys ever heard of the YouTube channel Studio C?
No.
It's a great YouTube channel. It's sketch comedy. It's produced by BYU TV, so Brigham Young. And it's clean, family friendly sketches by college students. And some of them are like legit on par as far as the laughs that they generate, like definitely better than SNL these days. But like so good. Just check it out. Maybe we'll do that in our like year in review. But just check out Studio C. They have a couple really good. The kids actually introduced me to the channel. Anyway, that was random.
That's good to know. Those BYU kids just get all hopped up on chocolate milk and run out and do some skits. So
yeah,
very cool. Very cool.
Hanging out at the dry bar in the evenings.
Exactly. Speaking of the comedy world, so I don't know if I mentioned earlier that Lily, our eldest, had applied for a summer program at Pepperdine University. They select 200 high school sophomores that apply from across the U.S., around 100 boys and 100 girls, and she got accepted. So this summer, We're going to be going out. Some combination of us. We haven't figured out who's going to be going out with her to Malibu, so that she can go to this like week-long summer program. It's sort of like life mapping. You sit down, they learn your skills and your giftings, and sort of figure out career paths that might be good for you. You're with other like-minded young people, so there's like nights of worship and small group type stuff and fun exercises. They go visit Hollywood. Think I'm going to use that opportunity to go visit the Comedy Store. We're already making plans, but first off, super proud of her. She worked really hard on her essay. You had to submit a video of why you want to go or why you want to be chosen. And so the fact that she got selected was very cool. And then selfishly, I'm like, this could be a really fun trip. And there's some food spots I've been wanting to try out in the greater LA area. So, yeah, this should be really fun, and congrats to Lily on the Pepperdine thing.
Yeah, good job, Lily. We're very excited for your father.
Former guest on the show, Kent Justice, is a graduate of Pepperdine. So if you want to go back and learn the story of a wonderful friend and news anchor, that's been a long time ago. Like that's in our that's in our first 50 or 100, I think. But yeah, good times.
How many In-N-Out burgers do you think you can fit in your bag on the way back?
But people say In-N-Out's overrated, and that Five Guys is just as good, if not better. So
I still want to try it. Speaking of overrated, because I love talking about food, I was driving by. There's lots of construction happening around us, and we were driving by one of the construction sites the other day, which two of the three across from each other, I think, are going to be competing car washes, which feels like a big wah. But the other one has a sign that says a Bojangles is coming.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have Bojangles around here. And I went to the website and I searched Ohio, and I don't think there's any in Ohio. I even searched Kentucky, and there's like two in the state of Kentucky, and they're from North Carolina. So I foresee a mid-bit video coming in the future once Bojangles opens, because it's
dancing on over to Mr. Bojangles.
That's right. And look, it's still fast food. Like, it's not going to be that much better than like KFC or like Chick-fil-A, right? But it's still different, and it's
a new fun shiny thing. That's exciting
new stuff. So we're going to have to do some Bojangles when it opens up. If you've had Bojangles before, let us know on social media and tell us what we should try. We watched a video with Rhett and Link where I guess they have rice and beans as like separate sides, but you're supposed to buy those and mix them together. So very excited to try some fast food chicken from Bojangles when that opens up.
Speaking of things going on in your neighborhood, you mentioned last week that you were gutted that your neighbor had mowed. And I got to visit your house on Sunday, and everybody's lawn around you looks beautiful. But then tonight I get home from running kids around and stuff. It's a beautiful day today, like high of 68. Both neighbors on either side of me were mowing at the same time. Oof. And I was like, crap, I'm getting it from both sides. I gotta have to do that starting now. But yeah, I was kind of making fun of you, and then look how karma works. It happened to me.
I'll have you know, I had a break this afternoon from work, so I mowed. I went out and mowed, and fortunately, the last holdout neighbor, we're on a corner, so the last holdout neighbor right beside our house, like our houses are facing the same direction, he usually waits till right after I mow. So he's kind of the last holdout around, which is fine. Either he'll mow it or he'll send his kid out to mow it. And that's fine for me. I don't want to be the last one, but I don't mind being the second to last one. So I got out and I did mow it today. It looks a lot better. I'm sure other people will mow their lawns 4 more times before I mow again, but at least I will have done mine. So we're good to go. And now Kory's on the hot seat to mow his yard. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it'll look like a trash hole. So,
well, my grass doesn't even grow properly, so it doesn't look bad because it's patchy and it's not lush. And so, anyway, Kendall, what's your lawn situation, and what else is going on in your world?
You know, I just noticed today that the grass was greener, and yeah, like the off grass stuff, like the crabgrass spotches and things are getting noticeably long. The bulk of the yard is fine, but it's those stupid things. So
bummer.
So that's what's going on with our lawn. I have some exciting news.
Do tell.
For the very first time ever in all of my years of filling out brackets, I won a bracket competition.
Hey, how many other people are in the contest?
Like 40-ish.
Hey, that's awesome.
Around there. And it was that completely random bracket. I filled out a serious one. That one finished 9th. And a random computer generated one that I literally just told it, do it completely random. And I looked at the final 4 when it was done and said, meh, okay. And sent it. And golly, that sucker won the competition.
Did you win anything exciting?
So I didn't think that there was anything, but it was through the CBS app or whatever. And there's a message function within your grab bracket group. and someone had sent me a congratulations, and then right after that, someone else had sent. But the real question is who really filled out the second bracket, because it lists it as this was your second bracket, not your first one. And that guy, who's a cousin of mine, had mentioned that his wife's second bracket was filled out by their younger son for her, and that bracket came in second place. And so, I mean, I was going to tell them anyway, but after he had sent that, and he was just like, haha, who really filled out your winning bracket? Kind of like that kind of thing. I'm like, well, actually, it was a random bracket, and haha.
That should be a thing. And this lane probably already exists of creating content like this, but it's like, what's the most crazy random thing you can do to create a bracket? So like you put all the teams and give them numbers and put them in a ping pong ball Turner bingo thing and just crank it. And as it spits out the ping pong balls, or like which animals would win in a fight, or I gave it to my cat and put food on both of them, and whichever one, like there's probably a lane of content creation like that.
Yeah. I mean, I did go through, like, I did look at it like game by game, just out of curiosity. And it didn't pick any like number one seed upsets in the first round or anything like that, which statistics tells you if it was truly 50-50 on every game, it should have. But so I don't think it was entirely random. I don't know how they did it, but in any case, so thank you. So with that knowledge, then I responded with that, and then my uncle, who's the guy who started this whole thing, told me, congratulations. I don't know if you knew this, but like the winner, I mail like a little stuffed pig sort of thing. I don't know if there's an inside joke from his family or something. I don't know what or why. But we mail this out to the winner, and then I felt bad, right? Because I was like, oh no, this kid filled out the second place bracket. I'm here laughing about my random bracket that beat all of them. I don't want to be like, Kory buying the fun shoes from the handicapped kid. Like I don't want to be that adult. so I like. Because he was asking me like where to mail it, and I'm like, dude, I filled out a silly random bracket. Like, my cousin's kid is the one who actually earned this, so why don't you mail it to him? So that's what's going on. And then I encouraged everybody to give him a big congratulations.
Meanwhile, he flipped a coin in between Call of Duty matches.
Probably.
I don't know. Coin flip, shot, coin flip. And then just entered it that way.
Yeah. I wanted to be as transparent as I could.
It's very
light of that, I didn't want to take his stuffed pig from the kid who potentially earned it.
Speaking of Kendall, and speaking of sports related things, Kendall, did you see the news about WWE?
The news about WWE? Not really. I know that there's like a big multi-billion-dollar situation going on.
All right, I'm just going to read the first 3 or 4 paragraphs of this article. Paragraphs are sentences. Endeavor, the parent company of UFC, and WWE announced today that they have signed a landmark agreement to form a new publicly traded company listed on the New York Stock Exchange as TKO, that will consist of the MMA and pro wrestling brands. The sale of WWE to Endeavor, which is expected to close in the second half of this year pending regulatory approval, will merge the 2 biggest global brands in combat sports. The transaction values the new unnamed sports entertainment company at $21.4 billion, with the UFC at $12.1 and the WWE at $9.3. Endeavor CEO Ari Emanuel will continue in that role, along with becoming the CEO of the new company. Vince McMahon, who purchased what was then called the WWF in 1982 from his father for approximately $1 million, will serve as executive chairman of the 11-member board Dana White will continue to serve as president of UFC, and Nick Khan will serve as president of WWE. Here's a quote. "You know how highly I think of Dana," Khan told ESPN. "Vince only has respect for what Dana has built or helped to build. So we think it's going to be just fine. And if there are any debates, those will be in private. Once we come out of the debate room, we're aligned and we'll move forward together. You have the two greatest promoters of the last 30 to 40 years now in the same house. We can only learn from each other." Thoughts?
I mean, I think that this is going to make crossover stuff obviously a lot easier,
Yeah.
right? Because there has been a lot of crossover stuff between the two, and then now it'd be, I mean, they can cross promote those things now, and I'm positive that they will. So I don't know. We'll see how much actually changes, but I do think we'll see that. I think we'll see a lot of UFC cameos, and I think we'll see a lot of WWE guys taking a shot at actual fighting, right? So
yeah, I think so. There's already all kind of memes with like Conor McGregor as these crazy WWE type characters, and the new heavy, or the new whatever weight champion. There, so the internet is the internet, and I'm reading through comments, right? And they're like, so one person said, for years, people said that UFC was in competition with boxing. And this person is saying, and I have not agreed with that. I've said that they're actually competing more with sports entertainment because the fan base crossover is very similar. And boxing is kind of dying and is really just a thing for betting. So what are your thoughts on that, the fan base? Do you think modern day UFC fans are just kids that grew up on WWE? Do you think they're different fan bases because they are so different? One is actual legitimate bloody fights and the other is entertainment. What are your thoughts on the boxing to UFC to WWE comparison, fan base wise?
I mean, I think all you have to do is count the Affliction t-shirts to agree with that sentiment. It does make sense to me. UFC and WWE fan bases are both the same type of obnoxious, in my opinion, and the boxing fan base just isn't that. I don't know what the boxing fan base is exactly.
Yeah, that's good. I see. I see a lot more neckbeards in WWE fans and a lot more like CrossFit guys in UFC fans.
But they're both wearing Affliction t-shirts. That's where they come together.
We can agree on one thing. We want a lot of tribal designs on our shirts.
We want, and our ladies are going to be like bedazzling their jean jackets.
That we can agree on.
We can agree on what we want to wear. What we disagree with is how well manicured our long beards are.
And whose house we live in. Is it our house or is it our parents' house?
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe. Super interesting. The other comment I found to be interesting was that apparently Vince tried to buy UFC a long time ago when he saw it rising as a combat sports entertainment thing. I didn't know that that had ever happened. So I have to fact check that. It's super interesting. It could affect nothing, right? I mean, we might not see anything, the ripple effect of this at all. But if you use the Disney, Marvel, Star Wars thing, there are some interesting, fun crossovers there. So if it's kind of the same guys that are no longer able to be as physical in UFC might be able to be somewhat less physical, but more entertaining as a retirement bridge in WWE. I guess this past WrestleMania was really good. I don't know if you watched it, but they said night one was incredible of WrestleMania. So what a way to sort of like round out their year. Anyway, I thought that was super interesting. And we've talked a lot about sports entertainment, pro wrestling. So there you go.
I don't really understand any of it, but much like all the comic debates where there's crossovers, it will help solve a lot of the debates on who would win in the fight between. Because even if it's staged between UFC and WWE, if it happens, it happens. And it's like, well, in this episode, Superman goes up against Thor, and Thor's able to pin Superman under Mjolnir. So technically, I think could help settle a lot of debates. Could be fun. How's that Zoa? Speaking of tribal designs, how do you like that Zoa there, buddy?
What a segue. Speaking of tribal designs, he said, yeah, Dillon let me try one of these zero sugar, no sponsorship here, but we're big rock fans, and this is his energy drink. I like it. The zero sugar is not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It's like orange soda meets Tampico, blended up into a zero sugar, lightly caffeinated, naturally sweetened, delicious can of juice. So
I think I like the peach Perrier your wife gave me a little bit better.
Oh, those are good. Yeah. She's big on the strawberry and peach Perrier.
Yeah.
But when you say naturally sweetened but zero sugar, are you talking about stevia?
It's got to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not like an energy drink.
Right.
It's like a healthy juice with
from stevia trees.
Yeah. Stevia. All right.
I have my own opinions about stevia.
All right. Let's hear it. That's what people show up for.
This is where the band broke up.
I can't. Stevia to me does what I think. I forget what kind of fake sugar it is that like all of the diet sodas are moving over to make the zero
sucralose.
Is it? I think it's xylitol that they're moving to.
Oh, okay.
Whatever it is, apparently, like a lot of people get like a really funky, weird aftertaste from xylitol, which I don't experience that whatsoever.
Yeah, me either.
Stevia for me absolutely ruins a thing. Can't stand it. Because it does the same thing. Like I taste stevia and
I have been the same way.
Yeah.
Which is why
and I don't like the stevia flavor at all. And so for me, it's like I'll be in a supermarket and be like, oh, look, a fun diet soda. And all the fun ones are stevia, and then I get sad.
Now, is it any brand of stevia? Does it matter? Because stevia is the
stevia extract.
It's the extract.
In a drink ruins that drink.
Okay, any of them. In any of them.
I've never had a stevia. I have tried things before, not realizing that they were stevia, and immediately knew that it was stevia. Like when I sipped on it, it was like crap.
Yeah, see, I don't taste it anymore at all. So I use it like in my coffee and espresso, and I would prefer it if the diet drinks all came that way.
I agree that Dillon, you are like you've just like, because it's in so much of your diet now, you don't even taste it. I'm with Kendall, but I don't have that as strongly as Kendall. And I will say that that's why I didn't even, Dillon offered me to take this home, and I was like, I don't even want to take it. It's better. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. It's much less offensive in this than in a lot of the things that I try. Because it's like when people are like, they can't have cilantro in a dish because they're it ruins it. Yeah. Or like how to the Brits, our Hershey's chocolate tastes like vomit because of something that's in it. Right. That's how I was with stevia. But this is not bad. So well done, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Shout out to Dwayne The Rock Johnson and also Kenan Thompson.
By the way, I just have to say, no podcast in the history of podcasts has ever said, speaking of tribal designs, ever. No one has ever used that as a segue.
That's true.
Ever.
Where else do you get this content, people?
And used it as a smooth transition to go from UFC and WWE to artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
Or not artificial sweeteners. I'm sorry. The point of stevia is that it's not an artificial sweetener because chemicals or whatever. But I get it. I want to try that. What is it called again?
Zoa.
I want to try that because it sounds like maybe it could be my gateway into liking. I want to like stevia.
Now, you guys know I'm a big Costco fan. Right now, it's like a case is like $5 off at Costco if you go. And there's tropical, orange, and white peach. And they're all good, but the white peach is my least favorite. Then I like orange and tropical the most. So the case is a really good deal, though, if you want to try a case of it. Otherwise,
if you don't like the zero sugar, just try regular Zoa, because I think regular.
He makes regular Zoa.
Does he have a sugar one?
Yeah, I think so. Wasn't that what the?
I don't know.
I thought so.
Look around. Go find whatever floats your boat.
Yeah. I want you guys to be thinking about, and we'll do this when we come back from the break. I want you to think about something that your disdain for doing this thing or your disdain for this thing existing is disproportionate to the level of effort required to do that thing or how big of a deal it should be.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a pet peeve per se. It's just, it annoys you to have to do this thing to a degree that you know is unreasonable. It's not really a big deal. It just really annoys you.
Mm-hmm.
This could be an action or a daily task, or it's just, I really don't like it, but it shouldn't bother me this much. Okay.
Yep.
And then we'll come back and I'll share a story. And when I'm sharing my story, you guys can keep thinking.
Okay.
Okay. Let's hear some words from some of our friends in Odd Pods Media.
Once upon a time.
Boring.
It was the best of times. It was the worst.
You got that right.
What's your problem?
We want new stories.
Hi, it's Frankie.
And Garrett. And we host the Ever Trending Story, a weekly podcast where we bring to life a fictional story created by our own minds and some of the hottest, craziest trends from the internet.
Find us wherever you download podcasts, and be sure to join the fun on social media at EverTrendingPod.
And we're back. So before the break, I asked the guys to be thinking about something that is disproportionately annoying to them. Not a pet peeve, just something that they hate doing, that they know it's unreasonable, it's silly. My least favorite part of work trips, and I was sharing this with my wife the other day, and comedically, she totally agreed. I was like, babe, do you know my least favorite part of of work trips and getting ready for work trips? She said, what? I said, unplugging the power brick from under my desk, because I run it up through the back of the desk and then through a little channel in the tower of the monitor. And then, as silly as that sounds, having to do that, I have actually stood at my desk when I've returned from a work trip and then starting work that Monday. I've stood there for 3-4 minutes just because I don't want to crawl under the desk and plug in the power brick again, run it up behind the desk, run it through the monitor, plug it. Now, docking stations are incredible because they're already plugged in and they just clip into the thing and you never have to mess with it again. Or you could say, get a second power brick and put one in your backpack that's always on work trips and then one that stays plugged in under your desk. It's so silly. It's so stupid. But she's like, babe, I've done the same thing. I hate it so much. I've actually called our son from the other room to come and do it for me. Not because I'm physically unable to, just I don't want to have to.
Yeah. What you described on the reasonable part of that story is exactly what I did with my desk budget when I started Wembley. I ordered a sleeve for my MacBook that had another sleeve pouch on the front and immediately just bought a second power supply. So that one has stayed in there for 4 years. And whenever I travel, I just unplug the Mac, slip it in the bag, take the Mac out and use the temporary. And that one has a long cord too. It's not the standard, 9 foot. It's like the 20 foot. So if I gotta do something weird, and it's brilliant. I probably haven't used it. The amount of money that I paid for it is probably unjustified with how few times I've used it. But the amount of comfort and not having to unravel every time has made it worth whatever I paid for it. So I get that very much.
I feel like inserting here that I don't mind like physical exertion or like temporary discomfort. It's just so annoying to me. And this is closely related to that other thing we've talked about is like, and the analogy I gave was in our kitchen, there is a piece of the wood, the wood flooring that shifts to one side, which leaves a little crack. And every day we would walk by that and kick it to scooch to close that gap. Because on the other side, under the trim, you don't see the difference.
Right.
But it would just slowly over time, it would just shift a little bit further under the trim that you don't see. So every day we would go by and just scooch that thing over the things in our lives that we allow. And it's like, just buy a second power brick. Hey, just tack that board down so that you don't have to scooch it over so that it meets the other board, man, or just glue it in place. The things that anyway, Kendall, what's yours?
Goodness gracious. I think mine's even worse.
Oh yeah, bring it.
Maybe. The only thing that comes to my mind right now as I'm staring out of my office to the stairs is just flat out bringing anything up the stairs. It's something that I will avoid. I will take my flannel shirt off and put it on the knoll post
all the time
so that I will bring it with me when I go upstairs. And probably late tonight, I'm tired on my way up to bed. I will even think, grab the shirt on your way up. And then I will think, nah. It's that bad. I set it there for myself. And there are times that I'm too lazy to do this. And then walk with it up the stairs. Too much. Just
can't be bothered.
Sometimes. Yeah.
I've got a few more.
This is great. I started a thing. Can I jump on Kendall's real quick?
Please.
When Dillon and I were living with our dad and stepmom and with our stepbrother, stepsister, we each had a step of the steps that was our step.
Oh, okay.
And if you had crap downstairs, our stepmom would put stuff on the step, and that was your sign to take this up to your room. Mm-hmm. It couldn't cover more than a fourth of the step, or it was potentially hazardous. So as long as it stayed to 1/4 or 1/3 against the wall, you were fine. But that was clear your step off. And I regret that we have adopted that in our house. And sometimes the steps will be spilling over, and it's by birth order, right? So the youngest has the first step, the second oldest has the second step, and on. And I hate that we started that, but it's the same thing. And so my wife, to combat this, has started something called Touch It Once. So if you have a toy in the living room, don't take the toy from the living room to your step. Just go ahead and do the full trip now. Touch it once. Mm-hmm. So take it all the way up there and grab that shirt off the newel post on your way up.
Yeah.
Right. But I do that shirt thing all the time. You need a dumbwaiter in your house is the solution. And dumbwaiters are going to come up later in the episode, but you need a dumbwaiter. Dillon, go ahead.
Where do I get one of those?
So two more that I thought of. One of them is inevitably needing to go check that you did in fact lock all the doors, but it only ever happens once you've laid down in bed and you've pulled the blanket. It only ever happens that way. It never happens any other. You're never pacing around while I'm pacing around, I'll go check and make sure. Never works out that way. That's one of those things where it's just down the steps, just got to check it real fast, but infuriating.
Yeah. And you have to make sure that all the light switches were turned off all the way.
Yeah, and the right direction. Some of them, it's a thing. The other one was, oh no, I can't lose it. Oh no.
This is a good one, though, while you're thinking. So we need our listeners to weigh in. What's something that's disproportionately annoying? It shouldn't be that big of a deal, but it really bothers you. Is there a better
if you want to whine about someone else, even? I was trying to think about that, too. I don't know if there is I think you've got it. Disproportionate annoyance to effort.
To the level of effort required. It shouldn't matter that much, but it drives you crazy.
We all know somebody, or we are that somebody who doesn't want to, or possibly never replaces the toilet paper roll on the thing. They just kind of balance it on top and moves on.
Yeah, but that's true. But that's starting to feel close to pet peeves, because I was going to say not filling the coffee machine or the Keurig up with water when you're done.
Okay, yeah. So you can't complain about someone else because that would cross the line over into pet peeve.
Pet peeve, right? So it's
Yeah.
like there's that fine line there. But yeah, so weigh in, comment below, email us at fromthemiddle@protonmail.com. Call us, leave a voicemail. Our phone number is listed below. We would love to hear those things.
I did remember. So
Yes.
my other one is one-off special trips to the mailbox. It's one thing to be already walking in or out or pulling up to the house and you check it, you're already outside. But every time it comes up, it's like there's nothing in there. Everything's set to auto pay. Nothing important will be in that box. It doesn't matter how full it is. It will be full of nothing important at our house ever. Nothing important ever. Unless you're waiting on a box, those show up at the front door. But the mailbox itself, nothing important will be in there. And so I don't like making one-off trips. If I'm already out walking out to the garage to do something, totally fine. Doesn't bother me as much. But if I'm like sitting and it's like, oh, hey, did you check the mail? And I'm like, I'm not going now. I'm already sitting. There's not going to be anything out there.
It's too late.
The bills are already paid. They're already paid. Nothing is going to come in that's important.
If you would have asked me right before or right after I mow the lawn, fine.
I'm already out there. I'd already be out there. That would be fine. I wouldn't care. But yeah, a special trip just to the mailbox, not happening.
Like you need one of those dumb waiters.
Yeah, really dumb waiter. And maybe he'll do more for me than just check the mail.
Hey, there's a really dumb waiter at an Outback Steakhouse near Cleveland in Independence, Ohio. Sorry.
That feels like borderline Nate Bargatze's new special. Like sometimes we just think of that waitress and we just wonder if she thinks about us.
All right. I just got sent this recommendation. So completely switching gears. I got sent this recommendation and I wanted you both to weigh in, but especially Dillon as a fellow AFOL. That's an acronym for adult fan of Lego. So my friend Jared sent me a link to this app, and the app is called the Brickit app. Brickit is all one word, Brickit. So this is what this app does. You take your Lego collection, your Lego bricks, plural of Lego is Lego. You dump your Lego out on the floor and take a picture of the pile. The pile will do its best. It's a little glitchy, some commenters have said, some reviewers have said, but will do its best to recognize what pieces you have available. And will tell you, based on those pieces, here are a bunch of fun things you can make.
I love it.
Not only that, it will give you step-by-step instructions, just like the beautiful manuals that are Lego instruction manuals. Mm-hmm. It will reverse engineer the set and show you how to make that thing. Will show you, and other users can upload their creations. Then it learns over time your pieces and will log those into a nice little inventory library for you.
Wow.
So what's cool about the overhead shot of the pile? It actually will highlight in your pile that piece you need is over there.
What?
So, awesome. so there's some reviews that are, it's got a lot of work to do. It's a little glitchy. You can't like eliminate, like if you're missing one piece, let's say from a common or popular build, it won't eliminate that from the list. It kind of includes it. Sometimes the colors are wrong based on how good your lighting was when you took the picture. But I thought, what a brilliant idea. And if they fix some of those bugs, that'll be really, really fun.
No kidding. I feel like even if you had to like line everything out on a grid that you make your like a 1-inch grid and like take a series of pictures, that is still a very cool app.
So here's the thing. So here's a picture of your pile, right? So then, other way. So then like, hey, you can make this dog as well as all these other things. Here's the instructions for said dog. Here's where those pieces are. If you need to find the eye, it's in the top middle of the pile. And then it makes like a little inventory of all your pieces. So maybe not for the advanced builder, but like for the young ones in your life, I thought that sounds really freaking cool. So give it a try. Let us know your thoughts.
And at first, I thought you were going to say you could like enter the number of all the sets that you own, so it knows what pieces you have based on the sets that you own.
That's cool.
Which, if it doesn't have that feature, I would be more intrigued by that, because then you're not taking a picture hoping it's accurate.
Right.
You know exactly what, like, this shade of gray 1 by 1 by 1 was used in this castle set 47 times. So you've got 47 of these.
Yeah.
That would be interesting too. I love it. I love creative. It's such a creative community that I never get tired of the stuff they come up with. I don't get tired of following the different like pages. You kind of start by like, here's just a Lego fans page, and then it'll recommend like the Lego castle builders page. And then you follow those guys, and it's like incredible stuff. And then it's like the city builders, and then people will take all the big like modulars, like the jazz club and the police station and the fire station and the whatever, and then they do incredible streets. And I love it. It's such a creative community, even though my brain doesn't always think in terms of how do I take these pieces to build something different than the instructions. I appreciate the heck out of what the community does with their creativity. And then all the aftermarket stuff you can buy to do like Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War II, World War I. Just the amount of aftermarket stuff that's available. It's super cool, man. It's so much fun.
Bricklink, Dillon, is similar to the feature that you're wanting to see. That one, like, if you want to know which sets this specific Django Fett was in, it'll say he was in sets da 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 da. I don't know if it goes to the granular level of like individual bricks, but maybe more obscure things like, I want the parrot. Which sets was the parrot in? And then, that has an eBay of its own, right? Where you can say, I'm building something that requires a bunch of parrots. I'll trade you all my gray bricks for your parrots. I mean, like, there's like a whole eBay, and it tracks it's crazy since the dawn of Lego.
So as an example, and if there's a Lego fan that already knows of this, so yes, Bricklink is an incredible resource that has tons of different points of reference for look things up by piece, by part, by color, by theme, by year it was made, by minifig, by whatever. My thinking was, let's say as an example, my daughter owns these 10 Lego Friend sets, and I own these 30 Lego Star Wars sets. And it catalogs all that and says, of course, you can build those 40 sets, but you also now have the pieces to make this pirate ship that you didn't already own. And you also have the pieces that you need to make this Marvel building that you didn't, the Quinjet from Avengers that you didn't know that you could build before. Because if it could start doing that and then like spitting out, maybe the colors aren't perfect, but you have the right pieces to be able to make X, Y, and Z. That would be cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. Well, there's a fun little reco for you. So speaking of dumbwaiters, this will be our segue into the things that we're streaming as we round out the episode. I told you guys I was watching The Watcher. That's created by Ryan Murphy, who I believe was the director of Glee, right? So this was all based in a real story in New Jersey. This family that purchased a beautiful home started getting really creepy and threatening letters from this person called The Watcher. This was a real thing that happened. I forget how many years ago, but I learned that this was real after I finished the series and was doing some research on it. The Watcher series started off very strong. I was like, oh, I'm really going to like this. The cast is great. I'm looking it up now on IMDb. So you've got Naomi Watts as the mom, the wife. Really liked Bobby Cannavale as the husband and sort of the lead of the show. He's so Italian. He reminds me of Pete Corielli so much. Mia Farrow is in it. whatever. So it's creepy, but it's not in the horror category. It's just suspenseful and creepy, and you don't know why these neighbors are treating them so weird. And I was in it. I was binging the show, and then, gosh, I wanted it to be better. It just sort of went, we don't know what's going on. Maybe this other thing over here. They introduced so many non sequitur storylines and loops and their loopholes, and killing me, Dillon. My ADD. If you're not watching on YouTube, Dillon is now holding up a Lego minifigure dressed as a box of popcorn, and
you missed the farmer's market carrot.
Yeah,
So,
well, it's what we're watching, so I thought he should join.
Yes.
oh man, the more cast. Oh, sorry, there's so many good cast members. Who's the girl? Jennifer Coolidge is in it. She's great. The two neighbors, the guy that does the voice of one of the cars in Cars. Anyway, so good. Just a really disappointing ending, and felt like they lost. It's like you remember when the early critics of Lost in those last seasons were like, the writers don't even know what they're doing now. They're just looking at what people are saying online and sort of making it up as they go. That's what it started to feel like, and it started so strong, and my hopes for it were so high. Yeah. So anyway, that was kind of a bummer. I did watch Jackass Forever. I felt a little guilty watching it, but it's on Prime Video. And shout out to our friends in Odd Pods Media, who I know have had Wee Man on, the guys from Grab 'Em in the Brisket. I don't know what their connection to Wee Man is, but they had him as a guest on their show. That was awesome. I grew up watching that show, or sneaking off to watch that show at friends' houses when I wasn't allowed. And I think I had kept up with all the movies. Man, it's out there, and man, they haven't stopped pushing the bounds of what is okay. The opening credits alone, if you've seen it, the opening credits alone is like, wow. It was very cool to see a girl in the cast. So that was kind of fun and a different change of pace, but did watch Jackass Forever. Found a really good movie, a Ron Howard film about Formula One racing called Rush.
Chris Hemsworth had really skinny down for that one, didn't he?
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl. He played he was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as
he was in
Zemo. He's Zemo in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and he's also in All Quiet on the Western Front. So he plays Niki Lauda, who is a famous driver in Formula One, and Chris Hemsworth plays James Hunt, like his rival. And I thought it was interesting. I didn't really as I've been getting into Formula One because of Drive to Survive, the Netflix series, and watching the seasons, I was like, Ron Howard made an F1 movie. Very good. It was very entertained. 2 hours and 3 minutes long. Came out in 2013. So if you're into that sort of thing. And that's it for me on the streaming front.
I watched the documentary. You guys remember back in 2014 when people were talking about that Malaysian plane that disappeared?
Yes.
So on Netflix, MH370, the plane that disappeared, the docuseries.
Yes.
About the investigation of that thing, which was it's short. It's only like 3 episodes, but like The Watcher, right? It ends with to this day, like, we don't know where the plane is, and to this day we don't know what happened.
Yeah. But Sherry and I watched the trailer for that, and that's one of the most compelling trailers for a docuseries that we both turn to each other and go, oh, we need to watch that. So then it starts getting real, like, conspiracy theory, and people know where it is. Do they just entertain like a bajillion possibilities and then go, but we don't know?
They basically,
is there any credence to any of these?
So there's different sides to the to the conspiracy theory stories. They basically highlight 3 of the main conspiracy theories,
Okay.
and they're talking to the actual originators of these theories. And but while they're going through the conspiracy theories, they are also including scenes from interviews of people who disagree with these theories. And you have the conspiracy theorists themselves, at least 2 of them that I remember of the 3 were willing to say, when all is said and done, I recognize that what I'm saying is pretty out there, but I mean, we don't have anything else.
Yeah.
And they are also like admittedly ignoring some things
Yeah.
and saying, well, I mean, just using sort of the blanket, well, it could be a cover up. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
the pieces of play that were found on that island could have been planted there by the Russian government or by the FBI, depending on which theory you're talking to. But they do represent, the series does give sort of what the facts of the case are. And it starts there and it keeps kind of reminding you of those things as it does travel down these few different theories.
Yeah.
So the leading theory is that it was like a mass suicide mission of one of the pilots. That's what the official sort of inkling is from the Malaysian government. But there's all sorts of reasons to not trust the Malaysian government, like legitimately so. So that doesn't necessarily answer the question, but none of these conspiracy theories answer the question either. Like, my opinion is what they said, it probably makes the most sense, but
sorry, mass suicide. Not just the pilot wanted to kill himself and it affected others, but more than one
no, mass whatever, murder, suicide.
Okay, gotcha. I thought you were saying like those cults that like,
yeah, he was going to fly him. No, not one of those. He was going to fly himself into the ocean, and he didn't care that he was taking 300 people with him.
wow, dang.
That's sort of the leading, the sort of the presumption of most people is that that's what happened.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say after that. Sorry.
So, knock.
Who's
there?
Interrupting podcast host.
Interrupting.
And we're back. All right. Dillon, have you seen anything recently?
I'll tell you something I'm not going to watch. Go check out the trailer for the 2022 movie Fall. And no chance I'm watching that movie.
Why?
So there's one for you that I'm not watching. I don't even really want to know how it ends. So
oh yeah.
Oh, that's
you struggle with heights?
Terrifying trailer. Not even a scary movie, just a drama, just a thrilling drama, and I have no interest. I am loving the heck out of Mandalorian season 3. Yep. I know some people complained because maybe they didn't watch all of Book of Boba Fett, so there were some questions about understanding Mando. You can just Google it if you don't want to watch Book of Boba Fett and catch up. Excellent. This season's been excellent. I finished Bad Batch, Star Wars The Bad Batch season 2. I don't think we need to worry about spoilers on that for anybody. But I guess spoilers if you're watching The Bad Batch. I was surprised in the last couple episodes. This is Clone Force 99. So these aren't normal clones. These are like mutated clones, genetically mutated so that they have different abilities than standard clones. And presumably by the end of the season, one of them dies and the rest are captured, which a little dark for an animated series. But it was cool. I have to say, there was this sort of meeting of some Imperial officers, and Tarkin is there, and they brought Krennic in as an animated character, still voiced by the same character from the movies, from Rogue One. So he's in it. So it was cool to see like Tarkin and Krennic and some of the other generals interacting in animated form. So Bad Batch season 2 is over. Is very good if you're willing to watch the animated Star Wars content. And I still need to just watch some more stuff on Stars. So I haven't watched a ton since the episode last week, but freaking loving the heck out of Mando. So I'm here for it.
So for those not in the know, Fall is a movie about two girls who find themselves at the top of a 2,000-foot radio tower and get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the Brian Regan joke where he says one thing led to another.
Right.
that one thing led to another is the laziest form of writing ever.
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't you, the writer, be telling me? One thing led to another. How did they find themselves at the top of a 2,000-foot radio tower? Probably we're on a dare and we're gonna film it for thing. So that's that. And
very fun.
You're afraid of heights? You just not want to
look? I'm fine with managed heights. If I go somewhere and I'm looking down 100 levels of a skyscraper, but there's a handrail, and there's like a glass barrier from the handrail down to the ground, that's like manageable. Like they've put some safety measures in place for you to realistically feel some level of comfortable. Yeah. I don't like standing on the top of a ladder.
Yeah.
That is not safe and does not feel manageable. So I don't like standing on a roof because I could fall and slide off anytime. So it's not always about it being the highest. It's about, are there any safety measures in place to make me feel some level of comfortability? I don't mind being in a plane and looking out the window. I know I'm in a plane. Like, yes, the plane could go down, but like, that's a separate issue. I don't feel unsafe at the heights that a plane is going because I know that planes are meant to do that. So that's the thing. I don't have a problem with roller coasters going high. That's not a problem for me.
Yeah.
So,
I like movies where you remember I think Phone Booth was one of the first to do this, where he's like in the phone booth for a majority of the film.
Colin Firth, like literally almost
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, excuse me, not Firth.
And then Buried with Ryan Reynolds, where he's in a coffin for like the whole movie. And then Open Water, where they're floating for the whole movie. And then there was another shark movie where the actress is clinging to a buoy for most of the movie. I just find that fascinating from like seeing how they shoot it, and how do you keep my interest for 2 hours when you're in the same spot? So I will watch it for morbid curiosity to see how they do that. But yeah, I'm with you on the heights thing. Speaking of stuff coming out, Super Mario Bros. Is coming out soon.
Yeah, I thought it was already out, and I was actually going to take my kids to it over spring break. And yeah, I actually, like, we were already out and about, and I was like, guys, you want to go see a movie?
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, we do. And so then, like, I go to pull up my phone and break out the AMC app, and I was like, oh crap, guys, it's not out yet. Sorry.
Yeah.
The only kid movie that was out was Puss in Boots, and 3 of the 4 of us had already seen it.
And while I'm on IMDb, since we've talked a lot about Air Jordans in this show, Air is coming out, which is the story about how Nike ended up partnering with Michael Jordan, and Ben Affleck plays Nike CEO, what's his head, Phil Knight. So that will be super interesting to some. So yeah, the world of entertainment is sure entertaining. Any other thoughts?
That's it. Just waiting for Bojangles, my guys.
Yes, sir.
Let's shoot some content for like a mid bit. We all go to Bojangles and compare it to our other favorite chicken spots.
We're gonna eat the menu at Bojangles, and we're gonna just try one of everything.
One of those shock YouTube channels that literally orders the menu.
Yeah, because I mean, realistically, it's like chicken biscuits and like 5 sides. That's not hard to eat the menu.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, if you're gonna do that, choose a fried chicken place.
This isn't like going to Cheesecake Factory and you've got 87 dishes.
Right. Good night.
Well, I don't want to write checks that my body can't cash, but I will titillate the listener and say that I am working on getting some guests that, if it all works out, might be one of the most exciting things that's ever happened to this show. Not to hype it too much.
You'll be pissing your pants.
Oh my goodness.
And we've got not just one, but two leads. So we're going to keep working to make this show great. And we appreciate so much your listenership and your comments and your feedback and you calling and emailing and sending in voicemails. But let's be honest, we don't have enough of that. So we would love to hear from you. If you want to ask us a question, we're still doing answers from the middle. If you just want us to weigh in a funny fashion about a question you have about something, we'd love to hear it. The ways to do that are all below. There's one link to rule them all. It's a LinkTree link. You click on that. It shows all the ways that you can get a hold of us. Just let us know your thoughts. Kendall does a great job like managing all that and making sure that we can get all those sources in. So yeah, let us know. This has been From the Middle. I'm Kory.
Dillon.
Gerard P. Whitaker.
Have a great week. Be kind to each other.